What's good, Chicago? This is Khalif here. I have a really great interview for you to check out today. It is all about one of my most anticipated games of the year, and that is Lords of the Fallen. I got a chance to go check out the game a couple weeks ago in LA and had a blast with it. I am telling you right now, this is a game to watch out for, and you need to put this on your most excited list because I am very excited for it. So check out some gameplay, check out the interview, and we'll be right back after all of that. What's good, everybody? We are here at the Lords of the Fallen event. I am ridiculously excited because I have two gents who are working on the game and who are bringing this amazing game to life. This is one of my most anticipated games of the year, coming up soon. What we're going to say that way. Gents, who are you? What do you work on the game? And let the folks at home know the work you're doing.
Well, my name is Cesar Vortosu. I am the creative director of this fine endeavor.
And my name is Saul Gascon. I'm the executive producer and head of studio at Hellsworth.
First of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking some time and doing our interview today. So many of the folks at home have been really excited about this game. I want to give you a chance to give a little bit of information about the game for the folks who might have missed some of it.
Yeah, you can take this on.
So actually, Lords of the Fallen is an action RPG that is coming out October 13th this year. It's gonna be a challenging experience as you've tried, but we try to capture. Let's say the ins and outs of the universe that we've created with the first game, launched almost 10 years ago now. Yeah. And we expanded on the universe, right? So we took everything that was on the first game and we just, checklist all the improvements that the community was asking, like reviewers, YouTubers, players on Reddit, Steam, etc. And this is how we build up this sequel and reboot, right?
Yeah. First of all, this is almost, like you said, a decade later of making this version of a game, and getting a chance to kind of not only play a little bit of it, but hear some of the team talk about it. There are some big changes to what this game is going to be as opposed to the last game. I'd love for you to talk about some of the kind of bigger changes that people will be able to see when they get a chance to play it.
Yeah, I think that the biggest one and most obvious is Umbral, right? That's kind of the biggest innovation and change we added not only to the franchise but also to the genre. Yeah. And actually, so that's a bit like how we started, right? So we take the first game, we had the Rogar, we have the Radiant, right? The Sentinels and the Adir followers, and we added this third faction in Dispute to kind of fight the other two gods, right? But we've been very respectful with the original materials, and meaning like if you play the first game, you will feel at home with the Lord of the Fallen, and if you have not, you will still be okay, But if you replay or check wikis of the previous, you will see everything makes sense, right? I don't know, Cesar, if you wanna add something?
I always have something to add, unfortunately. Right, so when we set out to make more Lords of the Fallen, as Saul mentioned, we approached the first game with great reverence. We took absolutely everything when it comes to lore, mythos, characters, and we expanded it tenfold. What was briefly mentioned in an item description, we made it a playable character and so on. And obviously, we wanted to do an epic. We wanted to solve the events on the first game and see how things evolved many years from then, and then became centuries and then millennia. So we are a direct continuation, but the events on the first game, they're like a shrouded memory. People don't remember them. So there are enough threads for players to pull. Secondly is that game was a product of their own time. It was one of the most high-fidelity Souls-likes that appeared, and it was absolutely fantastic. And we jumped at the opportunity to expand on it, but the market did evolve. So me, Saul, and Marek, and we put our heads together to put the bones in place. We needed to tick several boxes. First is to address all the feedback that we had in between, all of it, and it was extensive. Yeah. But just addressing feedback, a competitive game does not make. Sure. The game needs to have its own power. So we looked on what can we innovate that in 3 or 4 years from now on is still going to be competitive. So our focus was on immersion, narrative, exploration, and the loop, the death loop. And all of these three come together in our Umbral efforts, and that is pretty much it.
I mean, I want to talk about the fidelity layer because I think that is something that I think everyone at home, when they first got a chance to kind of see the big reveal again, I'm talking mostly about the kind of work that was happening at the State of Unreal. I was at GDC. I go to that every year, and seeing your game featured in there as a marquee game using Unreal 5. I think there's a conversation within the gaming space too of there's an expectation now that we're now in this layer of the market of the time of the game where folks have an expectation for things to look a certain way and to feel a certain way. Can you talk a little bit about what it's been like to kind of work in this area of Unreal 5 and kind of broaden out what this game is? Because the game is gorgeous. Like, this is creepy and weird and beautiful and ugly all at the same time. It's doing all of these things, and I feel like that technological leap that you've taken is really kind of pulling that together. I'd love to hear your thoughts about.
Saul, this is all yours.
Yeah, what it's been like to kind of move into this kind of Unreal 5 new layer.
So it's been exciting. Like, anytime, like, we're nerds, right?
Yeah.
So anytime that you have a new toy, technology, you're like, oh, this is so good. But actually, it's been also very pleasant because Epic, they've given a lot of support, right? So basically, if we will, let's say, like, go into the different technologies that UE5 offers, the one that makes the big difference is Lumen, right? Which is real-time lighting. So before, I remember, like, when, because of course we started in UE4 until UE5 was let's say, available, right? We got early access and all. But, when we iterated on anything, right, we were checking with the directors, like, can you move the door to the left? Yes, right. Yes, sir. Do that, press render button, wait 8 hours, and then you saw it, right? So it's like, okay, we failed, move it 1 meter more, like, no, stop. So with the Lumen, all this paradigm changes, right? Now you can move it real time while you're talking with the artist or the level designer. So that was a big one. Then, of course, you have the fidelity of nanite, right? Like those textures, those materials, those objects, like, pop, right, like, on the screen. And then there is a lot of other things that are not as visible to the eye, but there is a lot of technology also on animation, on actual physics with animation, how they combine together. So the clothes, exactly. Morphology, we're able to actually offer, for instance, players different morphology types, like from the gym guy, like Cesar, to like more corpulent like myself, like, us, we were So, we wanted to really offer all those options. So that's technology that you can only do with the UE5, right? So for us, it was exciting. And actually, strangely enough, never scary, because we always got the support from Epic, so it was very pleasant, and we're very glad to be kind of spearheading the new generation of games.
Yeah, good answer.
I just want to add that. Of course, I have something to add. Sorry about that. But for us, it was very daunting that we need to start from scratch. Because you can start on the previous effort. You have all the animation, all the systems, all the AI. So just migrating to another engine, it is this monumental task where nothing fits anymore.
Right.
So, but we were very glad to shed the old coats, because this allowed us to be on the same step with the technology advancements. Yeah. So we could be at the forefront of all technological advancements because we are working in tandem with Epic. And this gave us the confidence, and we make it work.
I mean, and you talked about some of the layers of it, nanite, and some of the other parts of that. I think for folks at home who may not necessarily be kind of like fully immersed in the language of the devs, in the way that devs are talking about this stuff, I think you'll see this in very specific ways throughout the game. And I think one of the things that I found really beautiful in the way that you're doing this duality of the worlds with Axiom and then Umbral, both being in those spaces in real time at the same time. Talk to me about what that is kind of, because you're basically doing a double pass of all the art that's happening at the same time and giving the players something to look at. Talk to me about what that has been like working on this game.
I'll take the first half. When we first talked about Umbral, Saul was losing his mind because we're not making 2 games, man. Right. And that was... And we say, yeah, sure. That's how we mitigate executive decision making. Yeah. We ended up doing it twice. But the way we went is that step by step, baby steps. If you look at the distance of the fantasy itself, it sounds unattainable. Yeah. And there's no point to start a road knowing that you might fail because it's too much. We might be too much. So the way we did it was effectively to establish a fantastic lore with the game, with every location, with the environmental hearthstone. We have everything. So we built the Axiom Foundation because we knew that the Umbral is not just a shadowy realm. We knew the lore. We knew what it was, tied to the cosmic horror and what exactly is at its heart. And then we started twisting the axiom part of the world, the castle. We take the tower and then we destroy it and we twist it. Yeah. So, and then we did more, and then we did more, and we did more. And then the entire systems Umbral only achieved, the demons, the titans, you see them, the architect of these destructions, you see them as landmarks, but at the same time, the whole real estate Umbral only that emerged from this Pandora's box that we could not close. And this is how things proceed, and the technical things Saul can tell us, because I don't know.
Yeah, so basically we as you said, we had to build it twice, right? Yeah. So yeah, as Cesar said, I was like sweating, like, how are we gonna do this? So, but at the end, well, basically we have a very talented team, so that helped a lot. Yeah. But basically you build it as you said, like with 2 layers, right? So we have the wall done twice. So then the hard part was finding the technology that will allow us to jump between each other without any loading time, right? Yeah. Because that was very important. You don't want to pop the lamp and it's like loading screen. Right. So the basically we worked a lot with a new pipeline from UE5. This was one of the hidden features I was talking on materials, that you can specify the materials how they are rendered. Oh. So we did a special layer only for Umbral stuff, right? So then that you can only see when you pop your lamp or you are in Umbral. But yeah, effectively speaking, or pragmatically speaking, yes, we had to. We have 2 times the levels, right?
Yeah, and I mean it's the getting a chance to kind of play in the space. The thing that just like jumps out at me every time I got a chance to kind of like mess around with things, and I was often kind of pulling up my lantern just to see like what does this part of the world look like in that other space. It always felt like each one of them was this very specially treated area and very specially treated land in that way. And it feels like it does really pull together all of those pieces so well. Besides those layers, which I think are just fascinating from a developer perspective and development perspective, I think also this game is faster than the previous games. This feels like a kind of punchier game in terms of the way that combat feels. How important was it to make sure that felt different from the previous games and felt faster for the player?
This was actually paramount for us from the get-go, because one of the main feedback that we were reading or hearing from the previous game was indeed that sometimes it felt slow or sluggish, right? And that's explained though because in the first game the fantasy is you are this, let's call it like medieval space marine, like very big, So we still offer that experience if you want it in this game. So if you keep like heavy gear and a huge double hand hammer, you are slow and like a truck, right? Yeah. But we also wanted to offer the fastest version, right? So in fact, what we did is not just let's say remove that type of gameplay, we added on top of it, right? So then players have a bigger range and they can choose, right? So but yeah, like usually people appreciate faster stuff, so that's why also the starting class is the 9-1. There is one that is a bit slower, but the rest are quite dynamic and faster, right? Because that's all based on player feedback. Like it's very important for us. Everything we do, we double check it with players, right? We get people into a room, they play, we are quiet, just looking, sometimes sweating, but and then we learn from that.
Yeah, I mean that's a kind of through line through a lot of the conversations today is that you've taken so much of the feedback from all the players, not only within this realm and this IP, but all the folks who kind of in the Soulsborne's kind of area. What was the thing that you really saw as a kind of usual thing that happens in a Souls game that you were like, we don't want to do that. We want to do something that's different?
There's a lot.
I don't even know. Yeah. So first it was multiplayer. We wanted to have seamless, effortless co-op. Yeah. That you're not bound to any of the game rules. You just make a Steam friends. Hey bro, Saul is playing Lords of the Fallen. You wanna toss me an invite? I'll join with my level 2 characters. We're gonna scale the game and let's play together and just be horrified together. So that was from the get-go one of the things that we wanted. The second thing that we wanted was to create a more realistic game.
Yeah.
And it's very strange to talk about realism in such a place of keen allegory and dire corruption and manifestation. What do you mean by realistic? Well, we boiled down a bit exactly what we wanted. We wanted to darken the world, to bring it to a place of misery where you could walk among how the life of the peasants of Mornstead and see their suffering, see what happened to the war. Here the peasant was made to ingest hands because of the demons, and. So the stories, the game grew darker and brooder, and our locations are inspired from real life locations, from actual villages, actual setups, from the cathedrals with small openings, grand exit with the cloisters, reliquaries, and all those fancy European names. We a lot of the game has been handcrafted. And they're unique assets that you won't see. We will see only in one space, much to the chagrin of production, because we did not rely too much on modules. So we wanted to feel lived in. We wanted to feel as real as we could. Of course, we had to increase sizes to accommodate for combat. So from my end, I would say multiplayer, number one, number two, to fulfill the dark fantasy and achieve immersion. So.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the multiplayer layer. We didn't get a chance to check it out today, but that's one of the things that I'm dying to get into once the game is ready for us to kind of check out. Go ahead. I'm sorry. So you had another layer.
No, like nothing much more to add. Like another thing we wanted to actually improve upon was the onboarding.
Yeah.
So, and we did a lot of iterations on the tutorial, right?
Yes.
And you always get like, some people like, oh, the tutorial is too long for experienced Souls-like players. For non-experienced Souls-like players, like they felt it was too short. So it's always finding that balance. Mm-hmm. But for us, the onboarding was one of the biggest because it's fine to die and it's fine to fail if you know why. Right, and this is what we've tried to was one of the biggest things we wanted to resolve and bring to the genre. Like you died, but you know why, so you can get better.
And in my time playing, and I'm going to go back and play some more after this, but the onboarding is fantastic so far. Like I think you're really nailing that because there are a fair amount of small systems that kind of all connect to each other, and it's like if you look at a big Venn diagram of how you're supposed to kind of engage the combat. All of those pieces feel smart in the way that you're lining them up for the player to initially kind of start that game. So I appreciate that as a person who is not as great as I used to be at Souls games. It is nice to be able to kind of see the underpinnings of what that's supposed to do in those moments, because it is going to be a thing that 10 hours in you're going to be like, that's easy to remember now. You're just doing it, but in those first moments you're so busy kind of looking at the world and being like, that's a cool corner. That looks cool. That enemy's behind me. Let me not worry about him yet. But it is nice to be able to kind of get that small handhold in the beginning. So bravo to both of you and the rest of the team for getting parts of that right. I think that has been really, really good. We're going to let you go because I know you have a ton of these more to do. You have a lot more folks to talk to. But the thing I do want to ask you before we go is for folks who are just coming to the game for the first time, maybe they're kind of on the periphery. They're Souls-like, trying to get into the genre. What's one of the first things you want them to kind of check out alongside the onboarding? What's one of the first things you want them to kind of take on and kind of not master, but learn early so that they can have a really good time with the game?
Well, I think that's a tough question, actually. But I think that the main thing that what we want players to experience with our game is immersion, right? So we really want people to get immersed into the game, into the world, so then they don't care like about anything else, right? That you get in and that's everything that counts in your life. Now, if you're gonna get prepared for this type of game, I don't know, we'll need to master your dexterity on L1, R1, and so I don't know if there is training programs.
Get your block button ready.
Exactly.
Your multi-attack.
Yeah, that's actually really
use
cool
that.
too.
People don't use it. That's the I win button, multi-attack target.
Yeah.
But I would say take your time to observe the environment. Don't rush in. We have many ambushes and very many traps that will create a false positive of safetiness. but then you got jumped in from the front on the back. Use your ranged options. They're there for a reason. Use them. We've done great strides in trying to create a seamless ranged combat where you press a button for your ranged options and all your buttons map to shortcuts. So if you're spamming light attack, if you press L2, you transition to your range option, whatever you put on light attack. If you put a spell, you're going to shoot the spell and seemingly go back to. So we put those things for a reason, folks. Drink deep.
Yeah. So yeah, like a pro tip will be, if you see an item, don't run to it.
That's how we lure people on ledges.
Yeah, me. I'm the one that ran to that thing and got my face eaten.
Yeah, this is not with malicious intent. It may look like that. It's our way to soft gate and force you to look around early on.
Yeah.
Just look around, because don't rush in. Yeah. Nobody pushes you. These games are slow, methodical, soft.
It's beautiful. It's like a nice pillow with spikes underneath it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful time with all of that. And I think, speaking to what you just both talked about, take your time in this game. Like, I think this is a game that, the team has done such a fantastic job of building this world. And I think a lot of folks want to kind of just like go in and beat it and then try to do that. But there's some really like beautiful corners in all of this, even in the stuff that I'm seeing that's like early on stuff that's not fully finished.
Yeah, it's to add to what you said, and with this I'm done, I promise. With the lamp peeking and looking around, we have a lot of detective work sort of gameplay. We have puzzles. We have environmental storytelling that is only like Umbral kind of traps these events, these miseries in the past. You kind of get an understanding. You see some event here, it unlocks another event there. We have a lot of secrets, a lot of loot and great treasure hidden behind Umbral-only locations. You can only spot them if you notice moths somewhere or an open thing over there. So you look around at the map, make sure you don't lose much of the treasure that you leave.
Man. Gents, thank you so much for taking some time to hang out with me and the rest of the folks home at Invercargo. This game is one of the games that I've been really, really excited about, and you two and the rest of the team are just knocking it out of the park from what I got a chance to play. And I will play some more, and we'll have some more footage from the game to be able to show you all. Thank you so much for spending some time and hanging out with me. Thank you so much.
It was our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Pillows with spikes underneath.
Put that on a t-shirt.
We're gonna that'll be the line, and then we do the what is it, the accolades trailer when the game comes out. It'll be Khalif, pillows with spikes underneath it.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. I mean, of course, you know how that goes. Everybody at home, we're gonna do more conversations around Lords of the Fallen. We'll have more conversations with other folks from the team, and other conversations around the game later on. But check out some of this footage and some of the goodness here, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Much love to you all. Peace. Thank you again for checking out the video. It is such a cool ability to kind of go check out some games like this early. It is still one of my biggest games of the year. I am very excited for this to drop in October. And I have to say, getting hands-on with this, it has changed everything. I think this has moved up way higher on my list in terms of my most anticipated games, and it is going to be a banger for everyone who's excited about the Soulsborne genre, the graphical fidelity of what's going to be there with Unreal 5, and I really do think that this game is something special. So make sure you're checking that out and more of the stuff that we're dropping here on our YouTube channel and everywhere else. So much love to you all. We'll talk to you soon, and peace.